The uprising of the machines is a reality. The front line has been frozen by UAVs. Advancement is impossible. FPV drones hit hard. Russian heavy equipment is being destroyed. Nightmare of the night. The vampire drone is terrorizing the occupiers. The iron birds can't be stopped. Ukraine is one step ahead. More details coming up.
The front line in Ukraine is moving forward less and less. Not because there aren't enough munitions, but because a new era has begun, the era of drones. According to the Wall Street Journal, citing Ukrainian sources, drones dominate the front line. They make movement impossible. Every step is under surveillance. Every movement could be your last. Now, drones are not just for reconnaissance, they are the eyes, hands, and weapons of war. They lay mines, drop grenades, deliver ammunition and medical supplies, and sometimes even evacuate the wounded and the dead. And most importantly, they track every movement and strike precisely where a target appears. From the very first days of the full-scale war, it was Ukraine that bet on these iron birds.
This is a Ukrainian know-how, the tactic known as the drone wall. The Ukrainian side, fully aware of the Russian army's superiority in firepower, meaning tube and rocket artillery, and therefore in the ratio of firepower as well as ammunition reserves, and was forced to change its tactics of warfare, taking into account the realities directly on the battlefield.
At first, Ukrainian defenders used drones for aerial photography. Back then, they served the reconnaissance function, recording enemy movements onto a flash drive. Then analysts would review these videos. But everything changed when the footage started being transmitted in real time. From that moment, the artillery began hitting targets with precision. Quickly, more precisely, instantly.
The tech specialists realized that a simple device, resembling a claw and created with a 3D printer, could be activated from the control panel by turning on the drone's light, which would make it release a grenade. The explosion can injure or kill a soldier, and if dropped through a hatch, it can also destroy armored vehicles.
But what truly changed the game was another invention: attack drones with a first-person view, the so-called FPV drones. They give the operator a full sense of presence, as if they are flying themselves. Yes, they are less powerful than missiles, but they win in terms of accuracy and, most importantly, cost. They can be mass-produced domestically.
What the Ukrainian side has proposed is an innovative tactic: the mass use of FPV drones to destroy both heavy armored vehicles and enemy personnel. In other words, all heavy armored vehicles are effectively destroyed within the range of FPV drones. Moreover, by using repeaters, Ukraine's defense forces have increased the effective range of FPV drones in certain areas of the front from 20 to even 30 kilometers.
The enemy is trying not to fall behind the Ukrainians, and although most innovations were created by Ukrainian engineers and military personnel, in one area Russian developers turned out to be faster. They began equipping FPV drones with fiber optic cables that connect the device directly to the operator. This makes it possible to bypass electronic interference and jammers.
After drone strikes by the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine on the plant in Saransk, which is the only facility in Russia producing fiber optic cables for FPV drones, this situation was neutralized at the very moment when Russian activity in using fiber optic FPV drones was declining. At the moment, Ukraine's defense forces and Ukroboronprom are scaling up the production of Ukrainian-made FPV drones using fiber optic. Moreover, the occupiers have noted a sharp increase in their numbers.
Ukraine's response was the vampire drone. It operates at night, when most drones are rendered blind. The vampire makes it possible to drop heavier charges in places where a lightweight copter can't reach. It flies silently, strikes from the darkness, and leaves behind only smoke and debris. The research doesn't stop there. Manufacturers continue to experiment with unmanned ground vehicles, boats, and all-terrain vehicles. They operate in areas where humans can no longer survive, where the fields are mined and the sky is filled with enemy FPVs. This is no longer just equipment, it's vital infrastructure. That's precisely why the front line is no longer advancing. People simply can't keep up with the machines. Every step out of the trench could be a one-way ticket. War is no longer linear. Today it's targeted, instantaneous, mechanized. And now the winner isn't just the strongest, but the one who thinks, types, and flies the fastest. The war of the future has already begun, and Ukraine is leading it. They're bashing Trump on the zombie box. Oh, what happened? What are Solovyov, Skabeva, and the rest of the bloody dictator's minions unhappy about? Rostov is foaming at the mouth with rage. War is peace, and potato prices are a terrible Western conspiracy. The propaganda is coming apart at the seams. Trump is destroying the Kremlin's rhetoric.
In the world of Russian propaganda, time seems to have frozen somewhere between 1943 and surrealism. Here, war is peace, destroyed cities are someone's malice, and expensive potatoes are the result of a conspiracy by external enemies. The thing is, in Russia, potato prices have soared so high that this ordinary vegetable has turned into a real delicacy. Ordinary Russians have started to buy the second bread, as potatoes were called in Soviet times, less often.
Potatoes, it's just a catastrophe. I already can't afford to buy cabbage for myself unless it's really necessary. And now Potato West, it's a real problem.
Have you noticed the rise in food prices?
Very much so.
So what should we do? The answer is already traditional.
What is it connected to? How should I know? Because of the war. Basically, because of the war. Everything is going there. All the money is going to the war.
What should be done about this? How can the situation be fixed?
Zelensky needs to be removed. Everything will be fixed.
Well, as always, the atmosphere of patriotism is on the verge of boiling over. This time a fresh incident has occurred. The wife of a so-called Azov soldier got into a verbal spat with a veteran, but not of this war.
My husband will come back. I'm waiting for him. We are grateful to you for having fought there. But why are you insulting my husband today?
I'm not insulting him. I'll say it again.
Before him, nothing.
What's he doing there? What's he doing?
I don't need this. What do you mean, what? He's defending the motherland, got it?
Residents of temporarily occupied Mariupol are once again outraged. Those who lost their homes have encountered a new paradox. New mortgage housing is being built where the destroyed residential neighborhoods once stood. But no one is offering these new apartments to the former owners.
Where our homes used to be, there are now pits and broken promises. Not only were we not given new housing, but now they're planning to build mortgage apartments on the site of our destroyed homes. At a meeting with the residents of our two buildings, DNR Deputy Shishkina Elena said directly at the administration that mortgage housing would indeed be built on the site of our demolished building, and that up to 10% of the apartments from this building would be allocated to our city.
The occupiers also had some advice for Mariupol residents on how to go on living.
When asked why these apartments couldn't be given to the residences, there aren't that many families left, the answer was not well received. Quoting, "These apartments are not for you, and in general, it's Ukraine that should be restoring the city and compensating you for your housing, not Russia."
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
And in today's reality, a new explanation has emerged for why Ukrainian cities lie in ruins. It turns out it's not the evil Russians who are to blame, but the Ukrainians themselves. According to some people's logic, the residents are deliberately leaving only damaged houses and destroyed streets for the Russians. They just don't want, you see, for the occupiers to come in and live comfortably in their homes.
This is the image of a humanitarian catastrophe that will be broadcast to the West. And in fact, their goal, as I understand it, is for all the cities that unfortunately we captured to be left to us in such a deplorable state that, well, take Bakhmut, for example. I exploded thoroughly, or Krasnohorivka, Avdiivka, you just want to throw up your hands in despair, right? They calmly, with a sense of mission accomplished, the IFU withdraws from the cities. That's it. They left us a ruined, broken city.
Recently in Russia, Donald Trump's latest statements have truly shattered established patterns. On the federal channels popularly nicknamed Goebbels television, the US president is no longer considered their elephant, especially after his remarks about Putin.
And today Trump, with a dismissive tone, says, "I'm not satisfied with Putin." Not satisfied. He says, "I'm not satisfied with Putin." Why is that? Before our eyes, Trump is undergoing Bidenization. Trump, from being the only one who could talk to Putin, is turning into just another version of Biden. And does he really think, in all seriousness, that he can now condescendingly tell us what to do and we'll just obey?
Archpriest Kachev stated that modern women have stopped thinking about demographics and do not want to have children. According to him, women should be encouraged to have children and men should be protected since they are more valuable.
We've reached a time when women won't give birth to anyone anymore. They've become weak, cowardly, promiscuous, and don't want to have children. We are disappearing, our numbers are shrinking, so we need to preserve our people. In other words, there is such a practice as preserving the nation. That is, we need to protect our people.
However, in reality, many men themselves willingly go to be disposed of, signing contracts to go to the front for 200,000 rubles. It seems that in this country, it's not so much the men who need to be protected, but rather what's left of common sense.
That's all for now, and for more breaking news from the front, tune in to our next episode.